toxic. I am not overly sensitive. I am not overly aggressive. I'm exactly who I should be.
The fear of loss. Very interesting topic, and something that I recently explored in my own personal life again in a deeper sense. And again, I was very humbled and invited to really fully understand that life and this journey of life is an onion. It's not straightforward, and there's always layers that we are peeling back and peeling back and peeling back until we come to our core. And yes, we do peel back the first layers of grief and whatever comes with it, but healing, or I don't like this term, but understanding, acceptance comes in phases, I feel. And yes, with every stage and with every tear and with every time we actually take ourselves and hold ourselves and be there with ourselves and let the grief just out of our system, we are invited to even meet us more deeper in a way that we never ever met us before. And sometimes, and not sometimes, it happens in phases. And oftentimes we meet people who reflect us, our own shadow, back into our field. What I mean by that is, I recently came across of a good friend of mine, and he lost his brother. And I know in my heart that losses are here to set us free, and that oftentimes we are still walking in the shadow of pain because we don't want to let this person go. We don't unconsciously, we hold this person close to our heart. And with that, we don't accept the way of letting go. We don't accept the way of letting this person out of our system, because deep down we subconsciously hold on to, because we believe that we are afraid of who we are without this person. And when my best friend died, I did many ceremonies, moments just with myself and with her, and just let the soul be open to cross into the other realm and the other dimension. And it was very uncomfortable because I realized I am afraid of who I am without her, because this pain got so embedded into my being that I identified myself with it. And not only that, I was also holding on to her, holding on to her presence, holding on to the feeling of the connection, and not trusting that I can still be connected to her without, still holding on so tight. So when I was really exploring it, and I was really going into what actually death is, and that also death is not really existing, because there is no such thing actually than death, my heart really felt this deep resonance of acceptance, and I was able to let it go. But still, we are here and having this human experience, and we need to let it go often, many times. And every time I let go, it's a different letting go. And when I met it's my friend. So when I was meeting my friend, and he was talking about the death of his brother and the death of his father years before that, there was a feeling of, oof, it triggered me to my core, and I knew it has something to do with me, because every time we got triggered, it's an invitation to look deeper within us. And yes, we are here to actually like help others, or I see myself also, I'm here to help others, guiding to get out of the discomfort and to get out of the shadow and into the light. But first of all, I'm also here on my path of self-realization, and every time when I feel triggered, it's an invitation for me to look, where can I look deeper and what can I let go, so I can walk in the light and not in the shadow of something. And so I was invited to look deeper, and I realized I got so triggered because I know deep down that he is still walking in the shadow of pain, and he's numbing himself out with alcohol, everything that I also did, and also everything that I also was still like, subconsciously also holding on to, because I was still subconsciously actually like drinking and going out, and it's for me, it's for pleasure. But there was a time where it was not for pleasure, but I was still asking myself the question, why is it still something with me that I still do? So I came to the conclusion that I don't want to do this anymore, because first of all, it doesn't do anything good for my nervous system, and it doesn't do anything good for my spiritual practice at all. But this is just my realization that I found within. But what I also felt was this immense grief that came with it. And yes, I felt his sadness, because that's just like the way I work. I feel in the emotions of others. And then I'm invited to actually like feel, okay, what is my emotion? What is theirs emotion? And still, this emotion that I felt, it was an invitation to look even deeper, because I could feel that he was shining also the light into my own darkness and into something that I was still carrying with me, that I was unaware of. So I spent the last days actually grieving and letting the grief and moving out of my system, and it does feel very uncomfortable. And I don't know when the last time I actually was in a state like that, and I was actually like allowing myself this state. I was allowing myself just to be devastated, and just to work with the tools that actually also I learned along my path, so I can more easily get out of the state, but in a very loving way, and not in a way of like, oh, I need to fix it right now, because you don't want to fix it, you want to be with it. And with that comes a lot of realization, and it comes a lot of like, who am I really underneath every layer that I thought I am? And the layer of grief is also something that you pursue as an identity, and it's a buffer as well, so grief actually like shakes up us to our core of the deep need for connection, but also the deep need of connection for ourselves, and for the love that we have within, and the choices that we do within. And so my realization was that with that, it was actually like my invitation to experience joy again, because I'm sitting here right now and I'm talking to my microphone, and I got the realization of like, wow, like all the expectations that I created, or that my mind created, like how I want to be, or like what I want to work, or like I do have the dreams implanted in my heart, and they are there for a reason. But the way that we actually like move to those dreams, they're like so different. And yes, there's also a grief of losing those expectations, how actually like you thought you are getting to their dreams, or you thought maybe like the people you want to work with, or like the amount of like the time in which time frame it should be or whatsoever. The more you surrender to that, the easier you attract it, because when you fully be in a state of surrendering, and I was, because I so totally surrendered to myself and to this loss, and to just feel it, and just understanding what actually truly life means in a more deeper way, that it is about being instead of doing, and just to be with myself, and to be able to hold me, to be able to be my father, to be able to be my mother, to be able just to feel it all, and just to be okay with it, and to know that this is what life experiencing is, to feel it all. I was just able to actually sense this loss of identity and the loss of expectation, but it's actually helped me to become free. Grief helped me to become free. And yes, of course, it will always be like this, because it will always be something that you need, because we are in duality. Life is working with duality, and without grief there is no joy. Without the moon there is no sun. Without darkness there is no light. Yes, but it's your invitation how to work through that and how to deal with that. And when you want to stay in the shadow of grief, it's your choice. But I want you to know that we always have a choice. We always have a choice. And if your choice is to stay in the shadow of grief, or in the shadow of frustration, or in the shadow of anger, or in the shadow of jealousy, or of greed, or whatsoever, it's your choice. But it's your responsibility to walk out of the shadow and to go into the light. And sometimes we are so afraid to move into the light, because the light is something that we did not explore yet in a deeper sense, because it's unknown and it's uncomfortable, and shining light to our own darkness can feel very, very triggering, and it humbles us. And we need to be humbled, because our ego needs to be polished. Our ego needs to be polished. Our ego doesn't need to be destroyed. No, it needs to be polished. And so our heart and our mind can work hand in hand together. And there's something more that I really wanted to bring home today in this little short note, little short powerful note from me to you, from my heart to you. The fear of loss, and especially when you experience a loss and the loss came suddenly. It's your nervous system and your body respond. So be gentle also with yourself and your body. Notice when you are triggered. Notice when you feel anxiety. Notice when you can choose differently, but do something for yourself. Because I experiences this on myself in regards to letting someone really close into my heart. And there was a time where I did not think that I ever will have a new other friend. And then there came my friend Janifa, and she actually opened my heart to that again. And I couldn't actually really saw this before. And I promised to myself I will never ever have another friend. I can't, because I'm very loyal, so I thought to myself, that's not loyal, that's bullshit. But it helped me to understand that love will come in different ways. And the love that you felt for this person, it will come back, but in a different form. And sometimes this love that you feel for this person, it will come back in friendships, in partners, in colleagues, in people on the street. Sometimes maybe you hear a voice and it reminds you to this person, on this person. Sometimes it's a hug. Sometimes it's something that is just so so natural, and you just know that this person is right there, and this person that you love so dearly is right there, because death is an illusion. Death is not really what's been going on. We just don't see it, but we can feel it. And that's the reason why I dare to look within, because we need to become better in feeling. Because with feeling, there's a whole new world that is so worth to be explored. So I beg you to stay hopeful and to actually be joyful and to be invited to all the dreams and pleasures and everything in this whole entire world, because it's worth it, because you're worthy of love. And please stay open, even if your heart can be hurt again. You have you. You have you. And I say this over and over again, but no one is able to actually destroy your heart or hurt you or whatsoever. No, it's your responsibility to be with your heart, even if people can walk away from you again, and they might, but it's worth to try and to open your heart again and to let people in, because otherwise, what's the point of being alive when we're not fully feeling it all? Feel it all, to be it all, experiencing it all. Have the uncomfortable conversation, invite love into your heart. Go on this journey, meet this person, meet this woman, meet this guy, even if it's not turning out the way you expect it to. It's a lesson, it's a story, it's something that helps you to feel life on its fullest. Deep, deep, deep down in my heart, I know that there is this person out there that you are so yearning for, the same way as this person is yearning for you. And maybe you will end up with this person forever, until you die and you die hand in hand together. Maybe you will end up with this person 10 years long, 5 years long, 2 months long, 1 month long, 1 day long. It's about the feeling that you have within your heart. And maybe you will have many ones, because all the ones that you meet during your journey, they're helping you to understand in the end that you are the one for yourself. You are the one for yourself. And everyone else is just an additional tool to drop deeper into your own self-love and to add to the value of what life already means to you. Don't think already about the future or the consequences or the losses or whatsoever. Be present. We only have the present moment. Every time you look and think about the past, you're in the past. Every time you worry about the future, you're in the future. Enjoy the present moment, because you have the power to determine the quality of your life. You have the power to go within, and you have the power to love beyond measure, because you're worth it.